Hey everyone, how's it going? I've got a tune from Nest of Scum 3. This is Challenging the Void. It's a sort of Scandinavian style death metal tune. I'm going to break it down for you, but first, here's a clip. It's a very modern mix, but with a very sort of 90s, early noughties vibe to it. Very aggressive, very snappy drums, very distorted, crazy electric guitars, nice present, thick bass lines, crazy vocals. So I'm basically just going to break down the mix for you. I'm not going to tell you what's right and what's wrong. I'm just going to show you what I did and why I like it. So first of all, I've got the drums. It's all MIDI drums. I've got Yugotone's OSDM kit, old school death metal kit. They got a bunch of presets, and I really liked the 2001 deathcore preset. Just a cool, snappy sounding kit. Some great shells on there. The kick drum is exactly what I wanted. Super punchy, with a nice click on top. And with the new Yugotone updates, well, fairly new from last year, you can tweak a lot of stuff. You've got the effects section. You can tweak the EQ of each piece. On the snare, I've just added some compression and added some effects. This is basically like adding a bit of reverb, a room reverb. Just sounds really nice. I'll just let you hear the kit by itself in a second. Just got some post EQ going over the whole kit. Getting rid of some super subby lows you don't need. Just notching a little bit of low end I didn't like. Cutting out the woofiness around 400, 350. You'll find that it'll just have this sort of boxy sound to it. It's nice to attenuate those low mids there. Makes the kit a bit tighter. And there was a little spiky area here at 10K. So I just wanted to reduce those a little bit. And then some very light sort of bus compression, parallel compression after the kit. So I'll just let you hear this track by itself. So if I just turn off the EQ and the compression, you can hear what the kit sounds like without the extra processing. And then with the processing. Just gives it that extra little bit of snappiness that I like, and that extra tiny little bit of punch. This compression gives me that extra little bit of punch I like on all my kits. I use this setting quite a lot. So moving on to the guitars. I've got RVXXEX by Audio Assault. This is a recent update. The amp sounds a lot better than it did, in my opinion. I've got the gate on. Got this Screamer style boost into the amp itself. And then the cab section. I'm using my own IRs. Captured from my own cab, a Jensen Nighthawk speaker in a 1x12 cab, PRS cab. It's a very unique tone. I used an SM48 for one capture and a B906 for another capture. And I used the B906 in a different way that I usually do. I captured the IR about 2 feet away from the cab, and it gives you this very airy sound. It's not quite as thick and in your face as close miking, but as a nice blend, it works really well. So I'll let you hear this guitar by itself in a second. Here's the EQ. Nothing special, this is what I usually do. High pass, cutting out some low mids. Cutting out that little spiky bit at 4K, and then a low pass at 8K, keeps everything nice and smooth. I'll just let you hear this guitar by itself. You know, just a cool thick tone. Let you hear both. And I'll just let you hear what's going on with this B906. So it's mostly the SM48, and I'm just blending in the B906. As you can hear with that, it's a bit more airy and a bit more aggressive sounding, whereas the SM48 is still aggressive sounding, but more smooth, and it has more low end. So I'll just blend between them. You'll be able to hear the difference. You can hear that sounds quite nasty. That's what I wanted. So I'm just blending in, yeah, about 30% there. And then I am bussing these. Not quite a bus. I'm using the envelope feature on Reaper. So if you click this button here, it'll send whatever tracks are below it through this track. So this is now a master for the guitars. And I've got the Son EQ, and I'm boosting an attenuated low end at 30 Hertz. This gives a nice thickness to the guitars. It doesn't really change the overall tone of the guitars. It just gives this really cool analog thickening. On this particular track, I wanted more of a scoop sound, so I've taken the mids down at around 831 Hertz, just to give it a more death metal type sound. And then I've got Nova attenuating there, the low end, a little bit more, because I found Reaper's stock EQ, it's not quite taken out all the low end. So I've been doing this extra EQing on the bus, and it works really well. The cool thing about Nova is it's not just an EQ. You can click on a band that you created, click threshold, and now it's like a multiband compressor. So if I play the track, you see how it's just dipping those low mids and keeping things nice and tight? It's amazing, and it works really well. And Nova's free, so if you haven't got it, get it. It's a free multiband compressor, and you can do that Andy Sneap trick. That's what this is. And then I found there's just, you know, a little bit of a build up around 4.8K, 5K, so I just wanted to attenuate that a little bit, make things a bit smoother. So that's rhythm guitars. Lead guitar, I've got the DX Express Effects Flanger Wah Wah. I get asked about this a fair bit, and I was going to do a video on it. If you go in Reaper, it's a stock plugin. Go to the DX section, and there it is right there. Super simple effect. You can use it as a flanger or a wah-wah. It's not like a pressure wah, or it doesn't go off how hard you hit the guitar. It's time-based, like, say, a tremolo or, you know, like a flanger. It just goes, you know, it's a time-based wah, which is really cool. It's good for affected, crazy parts like this. Just let you hear it. You know, for parts like that, it just brings it alive. And the amp again, I'm using my IRs. The Mercurial Chorus, I use this on lead guitar a lot. I love it. It's when you use this mix knob and you just bring it up, it's basically like a stereo widener. If you have the depth down, the speed down, it just sounds like a stereo widener. It's fantastic. If you want a bit of chorus sound, put the depth up. Bob's your uncle. Nembrini's analog rack delay, fantastic analog sounding delay. You can sync it to your track, or you can choose the time. It's just got a really cool washy sound to it, and it can get really subtle, vintage, crazy, spacey. Love it. And then re-EQ. And I'm not sending these leads through the guitar bus. I don't feel like I should, you know. I want the leads to have their own sound. Right, the vocals. My approach is the same as it was on the last EP, Habitual Slaughter. I'm using the Sennheiser E935. It's a very nice sounding mic. It picks up a lot of detail. It's almost condenser-like, but it is a dynamic mic. I use it handheld. I use it in front of the speakers blaring. I don't use headphones, and I just go nuts for it. And that's how I record vocals. So I just solo out a few bits. Challenging the void!
night, challenging the void, rise above the noise. Future, challenging the void, rise, go forward, challenging the void. Ow, motherfucker!
Very, very silly lyrics, but good fun to do. So if we just go into the chain, it's a very heavily compressed, overdriven chain. I've got EQ just to get things under control. I'm high passing to 350 hertz. It needs to happen for the vocals to sit right in the mix because of the way I'm recording them. I'm right up on the mic. And so there's a lot of proximity effect. It's not, it's not the ideal way to do it. I should be like a foot away from the mic or whatever, at least a few inches, but it just doesn't give me the sound I want. And, you'll see people high pass into 100 hertz, 200 hertz, but I feel, to actually get it sounding right, it has to be high pass to at least 300. And I've got a little dip at 1K to get rid of that kind of quacky duck frequency. And I've done a low pass this time to sort of 12K to just keep things a bit tighter, frequency-wise, not quite as airy. Compression, very heavy compression on the vocals, if you just watch.
And against the future, challenging the void, rise, go forward.
It's some parts are just slammed all the way down to 15, 16, minus 16. And then de-essing is something I can never get right. Throughout the years doing vocals, I can just never get it right. My S's just pop out. It's partly my accent. It's partly just, the way I record vocals. So I've ended up stacking two de-esses on top of each other. If you listen to a couple of lines without the de-esses,
I stand against the future.
Hear those S's popping out? I've just turned these on.
I stand against the future.
That just sounds more natural than me just slamming one de-esser. But if I put these in series after each other, it just gave me much better results. So EQ to tame everything, compression to get everything under control, de-essers again, get things under control. And now with the head crusher, I want to blow things up a bit. So without the head crusher,
I stand against the future, challenging the void.
And with it,
I stand against the future, challenging the void.
It just gives me that nice, driven, aggressive breakup. And I really haven't found anything that's free that does a better job than Head Crusher. It just sounds great. You can get this still from a few plugin sites for free. There is a premium version now, but this free version is fantastic. And then after that, I felt, okay, let's just push the vocals a little bit more. So I'm not using any low end boosting or cutting or the mid frequency. I'm just using this high here. I've gone to 8K and I'm just boosting it a little bit just to get a bit more presence out of it. And I've driven it the whole way. This is a very subtle drive, kind of like like a transformer type drive, just that nice analog sound. So I'll just turn this off. It's a bit more subtle.
I stand against the future, challenging the void. I stand against the future, challenging the void.
So in the mix, I'll just turn Head Crusher off and the Sonic EQ off, and I'll just show you what that sounds like in the mix. And now with them on. Just puts them in the mix where I want them to be, makes them aggressive, makes them poke out a bit more. And these are very, very dry vocals. I'm using, it's a hypercardioid mic. There's no reverb, there's no room ambience, there's nothing. That's what I wanted. I wanted that sort of, I guess, Phil Anselmo, very in your face, far beyond driven, just aggressive as fuck tone. With, and super dry, no reverb, no delay, nothing like that. I just wanted it super in your face, and I got what I wanted. And my approach for vocals, I've said it before, I just do whatever I need to do to get the line. I'll do stuff line by line. I'll double up parts up the center, and then I'll double up parts pound left and right. It depends what I'm after. Yeah, these two here, when it goes right, come from, I wanted it nice and wide, nice and big, so when those blast beats come in and the vocals come in, it just hits you in the face really hard. And that's the vocals, really. You know, just me being as aggressive as I can and hoping for the best. This bass drop here, people have asked me about this, and they want me to give it to them, but, you know, just press record now. There you go. Yeah, all it is it's a bass drop. God knows where I got it from. Got it years ago. It's just, you know, that old deathcore, metalcore trick. It's actually it's in B, but the root note or the key of this song is A, so I've just pitched it down a couple of semitones. And if you want certain parts to hit really hard, I recommend putting a bass drop in there. And this is currently at -19. Just have it nice and quiet in the mix, and it'll just explode the track when you need it to explode it. So we'll just mute it. That was without it. This is with it. Obviously, if you're not listening on big speakers, or if you're not listening on headphones, you won't hear that. It just gives that big booming explosive sound for certain parts. Okay, the bass guitar, you know, I've shown this a gazillion different times, but here it is again. BOD by TSE, just a great Sansamp copy. EQ, just, you know, the super lows, keep it out the way of the kick drum. Then super scooped in the mids, taming some of the highs. Compression, just as a safety net, because BOD's pretty good at processing the bass just by itself. And then I copy that track, the exact same performance, and then put it below on a separate track. And this one is like my distorted track. So I've got Mocafix No Amp. This is Windows only, unfortunately. But it's a cool Sansamp guitar, Sansamp copy. EQ'd the opposite way to the other track. So this is just mids. Instead of a scoop, I've got it as just mids. So there's hardly any highs, hardly any lows. And then a compressor on there just as a safety net. And that is the long and short of the mix, really. Got a bit of automation going on. Just dipping the rhythm guitars when leads come in. You know, it's a good trick just to make your leads stand out. And if I just go through the master track quickly, I've got a whole video on this. I'll link this particular one down below. You can check it out. Just a bit of EQ, cutting out some super lows. You don't need those. And then I've got a little dip at 200, tiny little notch. And then sort of a wide, subtle dip at about 500 hertz, just to get me more hi-fi sound. JS Exciter, it's just exciting the high end. Sounds really nice. These are all Reaper stock plugins, except for this end one here. So, you know, these are free inside Reaper if you've got Reaper. Rex Comp, super solid bass, nice opto mids. My favorite preset in the whole world. This boosts the low end and controls it really well. Can't say enough good things about it. Just makes your low end sound, you know, incredible. Stereo enhancer, just widening a little bit on the width high to 108. Digital Vestar compressor. This is not compressing at all. It's just boosting level. I should have got rid of this years ago, but I refused to do it because, I don't know, I'm superstitious or something. I just leave it there. You know, you can boost the level here from the Rex comp, really. I don't need this here. And then we get into clipping and limiting. This is the Event Horizon limiter clipper. I saw Kenny Joya, who does all the Reaper tutorials, using this once, and I was like, damn, that sounds good. So I started using it years ago, and it sounds incredible. You know, just set your ceiling, bring the threshold down, and your track gets louder, and it sounds transparent, sounds clear, it sounds great. Then on top of that, I've got the JS Master Limiter, and this is for the peaks. because the transients survived really well through the event horizon. So the master limiter is just taking care of basically anything that exceeds a little bit, basically snare hits. So if you just listen. And then without the master limiter. It's boosting a bit of level as well, but it is affecting the signal. And, you know, the only way I say it is it just gives me that radio ready type sound, you know, streaming ready type sound, whatever. And then at the end, I've got Mojo. This is a plugin by Air Windows. If you go on the Air Windows website, it's a direct download from there, completely free. And this is a unique, incredible plugin. It's graphicless and it's described as a loudinator. It just makes your track sound bigger, sound more forward. If I turn it off, there is a little bit of a level boost, but if you just listen to the actual sound of everything, it still sounds good without it. And now this is it with Mojo. It just makes everything, it just sets everything on fire, really. So yeah, that's my master chain. You know, it really works for me. It's all completely free. Check out the video, link down below for more details on what everything's doing and the ins and outs, etc. Okay, guys, that's about it. And I just want to say you can get a lot done with free plugins. You know, you don't need to buy a bunch of stuff. You know, I see so many guys using God knows how many plugins by God knows how many companies, you know, literally thousands of pounds into plugins. And that's great if it works for them, but I've never found the need to buy a lot of stuff because, you know, Reaper just has so many tools. And if you're going to spend your money on anything, spend it on your gear, spend it on your guitar, you know, making your guitars better. A good pickup goes a long way. A good microphone for vocals. Can't recommend the Sennheiser stuff enough. As far as plugins go, spend it on drums. You know, drum plugins and RVXX. I think I got this for about $10. Very cheap. And these IRs, if you're wondering, they are linked below. It's the Nighthawk pack. So again, this track is off Nest of Scum 3, linked below. It's called Challenging the Void. Check it out. And thanks for watching, guys. Okay, since you're still here, I want to plug some of my stuff.
Nest of Scum 3
is out right now. Click the link below to hear some
brutal death metal.
And if you want something heavy but not quite as insane, try all my other music linked below too. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. And subscribe if you want to see more metal related stuff. I'll be back sometime with a video on something else, so until then, ciao.